Let me paint you a picture of two different worlds, both living in the same city of Hong Kong. First, meet Joy. Her world was small. It was the small apartment of the family she worked for. Her day started before the sun came up. She would cook breakfast, pack lunches, and wake the children. Her hands were always busy cleaning, folding, holding a child's hand on the way to school. At night, when the family slept, her world became even smaller. It was the screen of her phone. She would video call her family in the Philippines. She would see her mother's tired face, her younger siblings doing their homework. She sent them almost all her money. Her dream was a big one: to save enough to bring them all to Canada, where they could have a safer, easier life. Joy's life was not her own. It was a bridge for her family to cross to a better future. Now, let's look at Ethan's world. His world was noisy and bright. He was a bartender in a fancy hotel. His nights were filled with music, clinking glasses, and the laughter of strangers. He was a magician with a cocktail shaker, making people forget their troubles for a night. Everyone knew his name. But when the bar closed and the lights came on, Ethan's world felt empty. His own family lived in Hong Kong, but they were a cage. His father had a business and wanted Ethan to take over. "It is your duty," his father would say. But Ethan felt his own dream beating inside his chest like a second heart. He wanted to be a photographer. He wanted to travel to London, to Paris, to capture the world through his camera lens. He felt like he was playing a part in a play he never wanted to be in. Two different people, two different worlds. One was all about duty, the other about freedom. Their paths were not supposed to cross. One Sunday, the one day she had off, Joy went to a place called Central. It's a square where thousands of workers gather. It looks like a little piece of the Philippines was dropped in the middle of Hong Kong. The air smells of grilled chicken and rice cakes. People are laughing, talking, sharing stories from home. Joy was sitting on a piece of cardboard, sharing food with her friend Lorna. She was tired, but it was a good tired. She was listening to Lorna's funny stories, and for a moment, she wasn't a nanny, she was just Joy. That's when Ethan saw her. He was walking through the crowd with his friends. He was off work, ready to have fun. And then he stopped. He saw Joy. She wasn't like the people he usually met. She looked real. She had a quiet strength in her eyes. He was walking through the crowd with his friends. He was off work, ready to have fun. And then he stopped. He saw Joy. She wasn't like the people he usually met. She looked real. She had a quiet strength in her eyes. He told his friends to go on without him. He walked over. Joy's friend Lorna giggled and nudged her. He told his friends to go on without him. He walked over. Joy's friend Lorna giggled and nudged her. "Hi," Ethan said, with his famous smile. "My name is Ethan." Joy looked up. She was not impressed. "I'm busy," she said, turning away. "Hi," Ethan said, with his famous smile. "My name is Ethan." Joy looked up. She was not impressed. "I'm busy," she said, turning away. But Ethan was charming, and more importantly, he was persistent. He didn't give up. He sat down near them. He didn't try to be fancy. He just talked. He asked her where she was from. He asked about her family. But Ethan was charming and, more importantly, he was persistent. He didn't give up. He sat down near them. He didn't try to be fancy. He just talked. He asked her where she was from. He asked about her family. Slowly, Joy's wall started to come down. He made her laugh. A real, true laugh that she hadn't felt in a long time. That simple hello was the first thread that started to stitch their two separate worlds together. Their love story was built in stolen hours. Ethan showed Joy his secret Hong Kong. He took her to quiet temples and busy markets. He made her see the beauty in the city that, for her, had only been a place of work. They didn't have fancy dates. Their dates were on the top of a double-decker bus, riding through the city as Ethan pointed out his favorite buildings. Their dates were in a cheap noodle shop, slurping wonton noodles and talking for hours. One day, Ethan showed Joy his camera. He was shy about it. He showed her his photographs. Pictures of an old man selling fish, of a child sleeping on her mother's lap on the train, of the morning light hitting the skyscrapers. Joy looked at the photos. She saw the world through his eyes. She saw the beauty and the soul he captured. "You are an artist, Ethan," she said. "You have to follow this." No one had ever said that to him. His family called it a hobby. Joy called it his destiny. And Joy? Ethan showed her how to be young. He bought her a silly, colorful hat from a street vendor and made her wear it. He held her hand as they walked along the harbor. He taught her that it was okay to be happy, even when you have heavy responsibilities. They became each other's shelter. When Joy was sad because her mother was sick back home, Ethan was there. He didn't say much. He just sat with her, his arm around her, making her feel she wasn't alone. When Ethan had a big fight with his father, who called him a failure for not joining the family business, it was Joy who held his face in her hands and said, "Your dream is not a failure. It is who you are." Their love was real. It was deep. It was a beautiful shared world they had built together in the heart of a busy city. But the real world was always waiting outside their bubble. One evening, Joy got an email. She read it, and her hands started to shake. She showed it to Ethan. It was from the Canadian embassy. Her application was approved. Her visa was ready. Her dream was here. Ethan's face fell. He tried to smile. He said, "Joy, that's amazing. This is what you wanted." But his voice was flat. The happy news was a shadow over their relationship. Around the same time, a famous photographer saw Ethan's work online. He offered him a job. A real job. As a photographer's assistant. In London. It was everything Ethan had ever dreamed of. Now the danger was real. It was no longer a what if. It was a what now. They tried to make a plan. "Ethan, come to Canada with me," Joy pleaded. "We can start a new life there together." "But Joy, this job in London, it's my one chance. It's a door that will never open again. Come to London with me. We can travel the world together." The argument started. They were not loud, angry fights. They were quiet, sad conversations that ended in tears. Joy's duty was to her family. Her promise was to get to Canada and then bring them over. She couldn't abandon that path for London. Ethan's dream was his freedom. He couldn't give up the one thing that made him feel alive to start over in Canada. A place where he had no connections. They loved each other, but their dreams were pulling them to different corners of their earth. The very things they loved about each other, Joy's strength and dedication, Ethan's passion and freedom, were the very things that were tearing them apart. The love that once felt like a safe home now felt like a prison cell, stopping them from becoming who they were meant to be. The weeks that followed were the hardest. They were living in a slow-motion goodbye. Every happy moment was poisoned by the knowledge that it was ending. When they laughed, the laughter would die quickly. When they held hands, they held on a little too tight, as if they could stop time. They went back to the noodle shop where they had their first date. The food tasted like ash. They tried to talk about the future, but their future was a wall between them. Finally, the day came. Joy's flight was the next morning. They met one last time. It was late at night, on a quiet pier overlooking the Hong Kong skyline. The city's lights twinkled like a million fallen stars. They stood there, not speaking. The unspoken words hung heavy in the air between them. Joy finally turned to him, tears streaming freely down her face. "I love you, Ethan," she whispered, her voice breaking. "I will always love you, but I have to go." Ethan's own tears fell. He pulled her into a tight hug, burying his face in her hair. "I love you too, Joy. More than anything," he choked out. "I'm letting you go because I love you. I can't be the chain that holds you back from your family. And I can't be the cage that keeps your wings from flying," she cried. It was the most painful and most loving decision they would ever make. They were choosing each other's happiness, even if it meant sacrificing their own. They held each other for a long, long time. It was a hug that held every hello, every laugh, every dream, and every "I love you" they had ever shared. And then she pulled away. She turned and walked towards the train that would take her to her new life. She didn't look back. She couldn't. Ethan watched her until she disappeared into the crowd. The love of his life was gone. Joy's first few months in Canada were very hard. Everything was new and cold. She missed the busy streets of Hong Kong, but most of all, she missed Ethan. At first, every little thing reminded her of him. A song on the radio would make her cry. Seeing a couple holding hands would make her heart ache. But she was strong. She remembered why she was there. She worked hard, day and night, at her new job as a caregiver. She sent money home. Slowly, she started to build a life. She made new friends, other Filipinos who were also building a new life far from home. The pain was still there, but it became a quiet companion, not a loud scream. In London, Ethan was busy too. The job was exciting but difficult. He was learning so much. He spent his days running around the city, carrying camera equipment, helping the photographer he worked for. The city was big and exciting, just like he dreamed. But at night, in his small apartment, he was lonely. He would look at his phone and scroll through old pictures of him and Joy. He wondered how she was doing. He missed her laugh. He missed the way she believed in him. They both thought about sending a message, but they never did. They knew it would only make the pain fresh again. 1 year passed. Joy was doing better. She had saved enough money to bring her younger sister to Canada to study. It was a big victory. She felt proud. She was making her dream come true, step by step. One day, she was scrolling online and she saw a photography page. It was Ethan's page. Her finger froze. She clicked on it. There were beautiful pictures from London. Pictures of bridges, of old buildings, of people laughing in the rain. And then, she saw a picture of a Filipino family having a picnic in a park. The photo was full of warmth and love. It reminded her of home. In the description, Ethan had written, "This reminded me of the strength and love I once knew. It inspired me to keep going." Joy knew he was talking about her. A small, sad smile touched her lips. He was following his dream. He was becoming the artist she always knew he could be. At the same time, in London, Ethan was also thinking of Joy. He saw a post from a mutual friend, a picture of Joy in Canada, smiling with her sister. She looked happy. She looked strong. She was living her dream. He felt a pang of sadness, but also a feeling of pride. He was happy for her. 2 years after their goodbye, something happened. Joy's mother passed away. It was a very sad time for Joy. She felt a huge loss. She felt far away from her family. One night, feeling completely alone and heartbroken, she did something she hadn't done in a long time. She dialed Ethan's number. The phone rang. Her heart was pounding. "Hello? His voice was the same. It brought back a flood of memories. Ethan, it's Joy. Her voice was shaky. Joy, he said. He sounded surprised and worried. Are you okay? When she heard his kind voice, she broke down crying. She told him about her mother. She told him how sad she was. Ethan listened. He didn't interrupt. He just let her talk and cry. He was there for her, just like he used to be, even from thousands of miles away. They talked for a long time. He told her he was sorry for her loss. He told her about his work. They didn't talk about their past relationship. They just talked, like two old friends who cared about each other. When they hung up, Joy felt a little better. The weight on her heart felt a little lighter. That phone call changed things. They didn't start talking every day. They didn't get back together. That chapter of their lives was closed. But once in a while, they would send each other a message. On a birthday, or on New Year's. Ethan would send Joy a link to his new photography show online. Joy would send Ethan a picture of her family now living together in Canada. They were no longer lovers, but they were something else. They were two people who had shared a very important part of their lives. They were two people who had helped each other grow. They were a quiet cheerleader for each other from across the world. The passionate, romantic love was gone, but it was replaced by a deep respect and a quiet, lasting care. After Joy's mother passed away, Joy and Ethan started talking more. They would video call once a week. They were trying to be friends. But trying to be friends with someone you once loved so deeply is very, very hard. Old feelings started to come back. But so did old problems. Ethan told Joy he was thinking of leaving his job in London to travel around Asia as a photographer. He was very excited. But Joy felt a knot in her stomach. That sounds unstable, Ethan. What about your future? What about saving money? Ethan felt angry. This is my dream, Joy. You used to understand that. And my dream was stability for my family. Joy replied, her voice rising. You used to understand that. The argument grew bigger. They started bringing up the past. You left for Canada, Ethan said. You chose London. Joy shouted back. They were both hurt and yelling. All the old pain from their goodbye came rushing back. Finally, Ethan said the worst thing he could think of. Maybe this was all a mistake. Maybe we were never meant to be together. I give up. There was a long, cold silence. Joy's heart felt like it shattered into 1,000 new pieces. Okay, she whispered, her voice flat. Me too. I give up too. Let's stop pretending we can be friends. Goodbye, Ethan. She ended the call, that was it. They had said the words that felt final. I give up. They blocked each other's numbers. They decided to truly close the door this time. This time, it felt different. The hope was gone. They truly believed it was over. Joy focused on her family. She worked hard and was promoted at her job. She started dating a kind gentleman named Leo. He was a teacher. He was safe. He was not like Ethan at all. She thought that was a good thing. Ethan threw himself into his work. He traveled to many countries. He took beautiful pictures and became more successful. He dated other people too, but no one ever made him feel the way Joy did. He tried to forget her. 5 years passed. Joy was happy with Leo. They talked about getting married. But sometimes, in quiet moments, Joy would wonder if happy enough was the same as truly happy. Ethan was successful, but he felt a loneliness that all his success could not fill. Joy's work sent her to a big conference in Singapore. She was nervous but excited. She was now a manager, representing her company. On the first day of the conference, she walked into a big hall full of people. She was looking for a place to sit. And then she saw him, Ethan. He was standing near the front, holding a camera. He was the official photographer for the event. Their eyes met across the room. The whole world seemed to stop. All the noise and people faded away. For a moment, they just stared. It was like seeing a ghost from a past life. Ethan slowly lowered his camera. He walked towards her. Joy stood frozen. "Joy?" he said, his voice soft with disbelief. "Ethan," she replied. "What are you doing here?" "I'm working," he said, pointing to his camera. "I live here now, in Singapore." "I'm here for the conference," Joy said. They stood in awkward silence. So much history was between them. That evening they met for coffee. It was strange and uncomfortable at first. But then, they started to talk. Really talk. Ethan asked about her family. Joy told him that her siblings were all in Canada now, safe and successful. She had done it. She had achieved her biggest dream. "I'm so proud of you, Joy," Ethan said. And he truly meant it. Then Joy asked about his photography. Ethan's eyes lit up. He showed her his portfolio on his phone. He had published a book. He had found a way to be both an artist and successful. "I'm so proud of you too, Ethan," Joy said. And she truly meant it. Then came the hard part. "I'm sorry," Ethan blurted out. "I'm so sorry for what I said during our fight. I didn't mean it. I was just hurt." "I'm sorry too," Joy said. "I was scared. I didn't want you to struggle." They talked about their lives now. Joy told him about Leo. Ethan told her about his travels. "But are you truly happy?" Ethan asked gently. Joy looked down at her coffee. She was silent for a long time. "He's a good man," she said. "But, no, not the way I was happy with you." Ethan reached across the table and held her hand. "Me neither, Joy, me neither." Joy went back to Canada. She knew what she had to do. She had a long, honest talk with Leo. She told him that she cared for him, but her heart belonged to someone else. It was a sad but peaceful goodbye. Ethan called Joy every day. This time, their conversations were different. They were not two young kids dreaming. They were two adults who knew how hard life could be. They talked about their fears. They talked about their past mistakes. They promised to always be honest, even when it was difficult. Ethan flew to Canada to meet Joy's family. He saw the life she had built, and he loved her even more for it. Joy saw how Ethan had grown. He was not just a dreamer anymore. He was a man with a plan. A plan that now included her. 1 year later, on a quiet beach in the Philippines, with both their families watching, Ethan and Joy got married. It was not a fancy wedding, but it was full of so much love and happiness. They had found their way back to each other. Their love was stronger now. It was not just about passion and dreams anymore. It was built on forgiveness, understanding, and the hard lessons they had learned apart. What do you think about this story? Comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Also, do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next one.